Draft is always exciting for every franchise. Excited for everybody and what the teams did, and obviously the big story was Shedeur. Obviously him dropping to the 5th round. I don't think anybody expected that. I think we all can agree that it's not on field, it's some off the field things, and it's always a saying that we say in football. Act how you can afford to act, and the NFL is always in that position. I think as a whole where when they can show you who has the power, who has the control, they do. And it's another moment for him to figure it out. I loved what I saw from the family, specifically Shiloh, his big brother. He did a lot of things to kind of continue to support him. He still had the excitement when he went 5th round, still went out and celebrated. I love that. And you just got to respond. I think Shedeur has always responded. He will continue to respond. But, yeah, this was an exciting overall draft weekend.
Yeah, be who you can afford to be. Yeah. And, if any of the anonymous stories are true, which, once again, we hate anonymous stories. Don't like them. Feels like they happen, and they're going to continue to happen. No matter how much you say we don't like them, they're going to continue to happen. People that hate them going to continue to use them. Yep. A lot of anonymous sources coming out about this meetings that they have with Shedeur Sanders. And a lot of the anonymous sources from the meetings are saying worst meeting of all time. Not even close. Not even like worst meeting of all time. Now, granted, all these could be a little bit dramatized because of personal feelings towards, either Coach Prime or Shedeur or whatever. But it felt like there was numerous of those coming out from different places. And it's like, was that all coordinated or was that all everybody's experience? And was there a chance you say, that be who you can afford to be? I do wonder if there was a lot of NFL teams that were like, nope, that's not how this is going to go. If you were Peyton Manning, if you were Andrew Luck, if you were Cam Ward maybe, possibly. But the talent we've seen from you is certainly NFL capable, but you haven't won. You haven't won anything. Obviously, you've played very good. So I do wonder if that was the big turnoff, if it was the meetings. And I was not in the meetings, so I couldn't tell you what those meetings would look like. I have seen Daboll's meetings with quarterbacks from the past, and I'll tell you, that you could see how that would be a little bit. This is what a Daboll meeting with a quarterback is like in the draft process for the New York Giants, who were potentially going to draft Shedeur Sanders. And then there was an alleged report, once again, all these things have allegedly been fake, but how'd they get out to begin with? Shedeur allegedly did not do well in a Daboll meeting. These meetings are pretty, it's a pretty strenuous. Real deal. Yeah, strenuous. This is a multi-million-dollar interview. And I think the difference is the quarterback position is so unique. If Shedeur had headphones, allegedly, this is anonymous, headphones on in the meetings, just all the shit that they were saying could be going on in the meetings where they were bad individual meetings. If he was a wide receiver or a DB or even a running back and he was the guy, I think there'd be a chance like, oh, I like the way this guy just has that, fuck it mindset.
Yeah, moxie.
We like that. At the quarterback position, though, it is held in such higher regard. And I'm not saying that it is only the quarterback that wins games, but if you don't have a great quarterback, your franchise is going to go into the dumps. That is literally what it is. So whenever they're trying to figure out who is going to be their person, who's going to be the face of the franchise, who's going to be their pillar, you could see how if it was bad talking or bad anything else, how some people could get a little scared. Now, we weren't in there. We were just going off what anonymous sources were. And like I said in the open, though, none of this matters.
No.
You get in a building and you're a dog and you get along with people and you're a good leader, boom, your next contract's going to be much bigger than this contract anyways. That's just I think the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it's obviously how you respond in those meetings. I've been in those meetings, obviously, from the defensive standpoint, and a level of it is intimidating, and the people doing the meetings, they don't expect you to get everything right, but they're just seeing how you react, how you respond, how you learn, because everybody kind of learns differently, and you're kind of, learning to speak a different language, a quick crash course. So I don't know how, but it couldn't have gone that terrible because they had that late meeting with Shedeur again. The Giants did specifically kind of right before the draft, and I spoke to someone close to the Giants organization. They were saying it's just kind of get him know him better as a person, right? So maybe he rubbed people the wrong way as a person. Once again,
yikes. This guy can't be like this. We'll fly out there.
You know what I mean? And that's what you do. That's what different organizations deal with. And these people talk. All of these people talk. It's a fraternity when you come to coaches and decision makers amongst the business. And I think young people don't know that as much, aren't familiar with how close the business is. Everybody kind of wives children, everybody's, kind of connected. We move around. So we were with Coach Mike over the weekend. He talked about all the different places. I had no idea. He was, associated with the 49ers when they were considering taking Alex Smith or the first overall pick. So it's just so many different things, and all of it matters. When you are a prospect coming out, people tell you, your agent, obviously in this situation, your dad, your family, everything matters. All the people you matter, all the people along the way. And I've heard nothing but good things about Shedeur, but, I'm not a decision maker. So it doesn't just go for Shedeur. A lot of really, really, really good football players went lower than expected in this draft. Will Johnson is a guy, corner out of Michigan, who we thought would be a top 10, top 15, top 20 pick. He went 47 overall to the Cardinals. Kobe Bryant, corner out of Kansas, I don't even think he got drafted. So it just happens every draft. But like you said, it doesn't matter how you get into the buildings, how you respond, and what do you do once you get in there.
As pick 222.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let you know. I thought I should have been 220, 221.
Sure.
That was the early projections.
Drove you.
Yeah, it did. You get in that building, it does not matter. Yep. Legitimately. Like there's there was some linebacker that got drafted, I think, in the 6th round, and they were talking about what he can do on defense. And I'm like, he ain't playing defense, brother.
Yep.
You need to talk about whether or not this guy can play special teams. And if he can play special teams, he's going to make the team. And if he can't play special teams, he's not going to make the team. Yep. It's as easy as that whenever you're looking at it. And anybody can buy in. Shedeur, he's not going to be the starter, right? Well, maybe. I mean, Russell Wilson was drafted 3rd round.
Yep.
After they paid Matt Flynn in Seattle. And they just paid Matt Flynn. And everybody thought Matt Flynn was going to be the quarterback. They draft Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. That's not really like an automatic projection into a starting position or whatever. And then reports start coming out like, hey, Russell Wilson's becoming the guy out here. And then all of a sudden he's the starter over them just paying a guy. So maybe Shedeur is able to become the starter. Let's assume that is not the case in reality for any 5th round, 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round even quarterback that gets drafted. But if he gets in there and just does his shit, I mean, it's going to work. That is literally how the NFL works, you would hope.
The Shedeur thing is different. Like, I have a lot of conversations leading up to the draft. I talk to every team. I get a lot of intel. I feel like I prepare myself for every freaking thing that could possibly happen. Like, that is what I do for the month before the draft. I spend the entire time on the phone. And it never crossed my mind that Shedeur Sanders could be a 5th round pick. It was not in the realm of possibility. So, like, to me, all-time draft stories, like, this is one of them.
Yeah, I think so. 5th round is a crazy drop.
Crazy.
I wonder when the decisions were made by the teams who were looking to draft a quarterback. I wonder if some teams weren't thinking about drafting a quarterback until like 4th, 5th round, so they're automatically ruled out as opposed to, because they'll say 32 teams passed on them however many times. It's like, how many teams are actually thinking about taking a quarterback at all in the first 3 rounds? They probably had a plan of differently, but there certainly were teams that took quarterbacks in those rounds that decided not to take Shedeur. When did that come about? And all these anonymous reports we're hearing about the meetings with teams, is that how much has that been chatted about since the draft ended?
It was chatted about a lot before the draft, before the draft ended, while it was still going on, like. Meetings weren't great.
That was like, what, a day before the draft started, those started coming out, right? Wasn't that kind of...
Yeah, and the reason a lot of that happens is because, the same reason why big news gets reported on, game day morning or other pregame shows is because, like, that's when sometimes you sort of save your best, most thorough, detailed reporting for right before the event. So, like, Tom Pelissero comes out with the article with 12,000
He was sitting on that for weeks.
Well, but a lot, all those conversations, like, I had several of those conversations with teams about, like, all right, how was the meeting? Wasn't great. Like, all right, why? And it's like, well, just didn't come off great. And I'm like, all right, what does that mean? Probably nothing. It's like, I spent a lot of time trying to figure. I'm not just talking about Shedeur. This happens with a lot of different prospects and a lot of different things. Like, these guys are picked apart like never before or since ever. It's only the draft are these things picked apart to this level. And it's very challenging. It sucks in a lot of ways, but teams are making multi-million-dollar investments. So, like, it's on them to find out everything you can. But, like, all the things that were discussed publicly in Tom's article and other places are all the stuff that were being discussed privately as well. And, like, one thing about Shedeur that I keep coming back to is like, Dahn is awesome, great player, great dude, was a very excellent colleague, worked with him for a long time, and every interaction with him has been great. And honestly, all my interactions with Shedeur, of which there have been several, have been really good.
Me too.
I told you guys,
I like to say that.
told you that story when we FaceTime. He spent plenty of time talking to my kids on FaceTime. Seemed like an awesome guy. The advice he got, I don't think was good.
Yeah, I wonder if he thought it was confidence he was showing. That's why I wish that report would have came out a little earlier. So then maybe we can correct course a little bit, and maybe there's a chance to call and say, "Hey, I did not mean to come across that way," but instead we're sitting on stories. We're sitting on stories.
Keep doing that.
I didn't know this is what you journalists do. It's unbelievable. So maybe this is a great learning lesson too for this entire process. And once again, in building, anything can happen as long as you're in there. Not as easy as a fifth rounder as it is a first rounder, but once you're in the building, you have a chance.